Hi guys, it's Thomas here from COTbase.com. Welcome to a weekly COT review. Today we're going to be analyzing the 43rd Commitments of Traders Report of 2022, and as we always do, we shall start off by looking at the largest changes in commercials positions. I'm going to be doing the traditional format, going through the classic COT analysis, showing you large changes in commercials net positions, and then moving on to large speculators COT Extreme analysis. And at the end of the video, if you're interested in looking at the intraday indicator that we developed, the iCOT Intraday Indicator, I will be showing you an example of the Mexican Peso against the US dollar and how it can help you in your intraday trading. And the reason I'm going to look at the Mexican Peso is because we have a larger than average chain size over there. But let's start off with live cattle, which is on top of our list based on a 52-week look back period. Don't forget, we are analyzing net positions, classic COT data. You can see that we have a lot of different COT report types. We are analyzing the classic report type, and we are looking at the futures and options combined data type. So let's get to it. So this 39% change in commercials net positions can be seen on the chart. Commercials represented with the red line over here. It is possibly the largest change in the past 1 year. It is coming after a decent rally that's been going on for quite some time. It is pointing downwards. It is a bearish COT change signal suggesting some weakness in the next few days. And if we move on to the 5 years chart, you can see that extreme wise, there's not much to talk about. So the most bearish COT extreme from April of 2019, you can see what happened there, just roughly around the tops in the market, pushing the market lower. And then we had a significant bullish COT extreme in March of 2020, just before we ended up in this bottom over here. So we are more or less in between those two extremes. So there's not a big stress level in the market, in traders net positions. So it's really the COT chain signal that you can really act upon if you wanted to. Livestock complex is something for subscribers. We combine COT data within a market complex, a market category, into one COT chart. Mexican Peso is the next market. 30% change over here in commercials net positions. Again, a very large change size, much greater than average. We have seen greater changes in the past. This is possibly the fourth largest change, and it is showing, it's indicating a bearish turn downwards. Now, I already looked at the iCOT intraday indicator. You will see at the end of the video that actually the intraday indicator stress levels are also higher. So stay tuned and keep watching the video until the end, and I'll show you what the intraday indicator can do. But basically, the COT chain signal already suggests after this rising market, it has been going on for a couple weeks now, that we should see a bit of a decline in the next few days. Moving on to the 5 years chart, you can see that again we are you know what, actually in the 5 years term, we're closer to bullish COT extreme levels, but you can see that in the past 2.5, 3 years we've been pretty much wiggling around the zero line over here. So one might actually decide to change to the 2 years look back period, and you can see that it is actually getting closer to bearish COT extreme levels. The next market will be lumber. Here we have a 25% change in commercials net position, greater than average. It is a bearish COT chain signal. The reason I'm not that excited about it is that actually this week we have seen lumber come down, so the signal itself could be a little bit late for us to act upon. Let's move our attention over to large speculators COT Extreme. You can see that we have oats followed by rough rice on top of our list. I should point out that oats is a small market, and as you can see, we have periods of times when there's no data, simply because again, it's not a huge market. But there is a 270 report extreme in large speculators, and you can see what happened to Oats when that was the case. That is actually a bullish COT extreme, suggesting in the medium to long term higher prices coming. So in the next couple of months, 1-2 years, we should expect Oats to bottom out here based on the report. Again, don't forget we are talking about a relatively small commodity. Rough rice, however, is a bit larger. 180 report extreme in large speculators over here. We are, of course, on the 5 years chart, and you can quite clearly see that it is a significant extreme. Again, it is a bullish COT extreme signal, suggesting even higher prices coming ahead of us. And last but not least, for the classic COT analysis portion of this video, we're going to talk about cotton, where we have a 124 report extreme in large speculators. So roughly 2 years ago is when we had large speculators and actually commercials at this extreme level. And it is, of course, a bullish extreme. We have seen greater extremes, so it's always, something to keep in mind that these stress levels can build up to levels that is really hard to determine when's that peak point, right? Like similarly to a volcano, I always say that's the best example. You don't know exactly when it will erupt, but you do get the reading that there's stress building up in the stomach of the mountain. So that's the case over here. It is definitely setting up for a bottom in cotton. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have a look at the Mexican peso. I should point out that we're looking at it from the opposite direction. Here we have the Mexican peso measured in dollar. This is dollar measured in Mexican peso, so it's just the reverse. So when I said that we're expecting, based on this larger than average change size, for Mexican peso to turn downwards, this is a bearish COT change signal. You can translate that to the reverse. It suggests the classic COT analysis suggests that we should see in the near term rise in the dollar against the Mexican peso. And as you can see, we do have extreme readings from the green line, which is, of course, called large speculators in classic COT analysis. Here we just call them speculators, but in reality, this is not data from CFTC. It is our own indicator, but of course, it was put together to mimic the ways of classic COT analysis. You can see this is a 1 hour candlestick chart that we do have some very decent signals here. The stripe signal is basically when we have both speculators and commercials at an extreme. It is supported by the balance line over here. And if we stop for 1 second here on cotbase.com under indicators, you will find a lot of educational material and some example charts explaining to you what kind of signals there are in the iCOT Intraday Indicator. So the strongest signals are these so-called stripe signals, when we have both of commercials and speculators at an extreme. And that's the case. That was the case over here, 26th of October. What a wonderful signal, pushing the market higher. Right now, we don't have a marker, this yellow diamond underneath. But if commercials were to increase over here on the scores a little bit more, we may actually get another stripe signal. We shall see. And of course, in the indicator, we can go into even smaller time frames. This is a 15-minute candlestick chart, and you can see how well it can be used to measure reversals in certain trends. And let's end this review with a 5-minute candlestick chart. You can see even on the 5-minute we have supporting evidence that we should see a rebound in the dollar against the Mexican peso. So that's the iCOT intraday indicator. Of course, here at cotbase.com, we have everything in with regard to COT. That's our name, the commitments of traders report, and throughout the many years, we have been able to develop an indicator that is very useful in the short run, and can actually benefit you in your near-term trading. So combining the two, having a longer term view from the classic COT analysis, and then shifting your attention to the intraday indicator to help you enter or exit trades, I think it's a very beneficial supplemental tool. So thank you very much for your attention. I truly appreciate you being with me. I wish that you will have a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see you in my next COT review. All the best. Take care. Bye.